Get Carter is a work of art, and this release from the British Film Institute has been transferred from the original camera negative and enjoyed the involvement of director Mike Hodges. The packaging makes it even more impressive, and all I can say is this one's a winner all round. Michael Caine was at the height of his fame when he made Get Carter in 1971. He plays Jack Carter, a London gangster who has to return home to Newcastle following the death of his brother, who has died in mysterious circumstances. Strangely, Carter sounds remarkably Cockney, even though he apparently grew up in Newcastle, but that somehow doesn't seem to matter. This is a time capsule of Britain in the early 70s, and the bleak, colourless, depressing look is complemented by the gritty, coarse-grain film stock. I think there are one or two optical zooms early on that cause the grain to be even more obvious, but this is surely one film when just about everyone will appreciate the arty look that only real film grain provides. This is an attempt to take a realistic look at the effects of violence and a gangster's life in the early 1970s. It's not glamorous and you may find it all a little depressing, but I came away from it feeling uplifted as I felt as I had seen a great film, and a great film that hadn't sugar-coated its subject matter at all. And it was also a window into a time when Britain was still effectively bankrupt after World War II. A look that I partially recall from that time in some still depressed areas of London on the days when the British weather gives us that typically bleak look. The score is another reason for the success of Get Carter. Roy Budd created something both timeless and evocative. His music enhances the imagery and immediately draws you into Jack Carter's world. But sadly, Roy Budd died too early. I think he was only 53 when he passed away, and so he wasn't there when, in the late 1990s, Get Carter had a renaissance and gained the cult status that it always should have enjoyed, and is even bigger today. And surely this release from the BFI will go some way to ensuring that it's remembered for generations to come. A great score, and although not entirely similar to Don Siegel's Dirty Harry with Clint Eastwood, it does sort of bring about that same atmosphere as the great score in Dirty Harry, and perhaps another film from the same era, which is Jane Fonda, Donald Sutherland in Clute. So in my opinion, I'd say both these films have a similar look with a gritty, grainy film stock, and the music, even though different on both occasions, does give you that similar feel to Get Carter. But there's another one which was a BBC television series, 2006, Life on Mars, and I know from previous videos with comments that quite a few of us out there like our time-travelling, time-twisting sort of mysteries, and in this, John Sims' detective character goes back to Manchester in 1973, and I think the makers of this must have looked at Get Carter with the look of Newcastle in 1971 and said, that's what we need to do with Life on Mars, we need to get that sort of look and feel with Manchester in 1973, and you won't be surprised, there are similarities, but obviously this made a lot later, a bit more difficult to do a film set in 1973 when you're making it in 2006 and 2007, but you can get that over here in the UK for £1.50 from CEX. The sound is mono, and as far as I'm concerned, it really couldn't be anything else. Any multi-channel sound on this would surely have spoilt the film entirely. The image aspect ratio is 1:85 to 1, and it's just like looking at a pristine 35mm print. I don't think I need to say any more about the picture quality than that, because if it comes up to that sort of standard, then that's just about as good as it can get. It comes with both HDR10 and Dolby Vision for anyone who wants to play Spot the Difference, and I really would be interested in knowing if you can see any difference between the two on this one, if you have the facilities to do so. So please let me know in the comments below. Now, I've been told recently in comments from people in the know that digital noise reduction is applied to the image on every release that comes out on these 4K or Blu-ray discs, and that is because that scanning a film, that whole process, does exacerbate film grain, so we have to accept that there is always going to be some image noise reduction. But thankfully, with Get Carter, I think I can confirm that it's minimal on here because that beautiful film grain look, vital to the success of a film set in Newcastle in 1971, is there. And if anything, it's even more gritty than it would have been if we'd have had a new 35mm printer screen in here. So it's got a beautiful look, and I hope everyone out there will agree with me on that. But I'm sure there are going to be some to say the film grain is horrible. I think it's beautiful, and I hope you do too. As Trevor from Double Bill Movies pointed out, the BFI have done 2 different releases of this pack, as you only get the film on 4K or Blu-ray, dependent on which pack you choose. The 4K pack costs £29.99 and the Blu-ray costs £24.99. The extras are on the separate Blu-ray in each pack. I think the most interesting extra is Klinger on Klinger. This is producer Michael Klinger's son talking about the work of his father, but if it were me, I'd have turned all these extras into an extensive documentary about the making of Get Carter, but that involves time and money. There is some sex in this one in addition to the violence, but I can't remember much bad language at all, and overall I'd say, given the look and feel of this pack, combined with the value for money, I think it might be one of the best 4K packs we've enjoyed so far, and my advice is, if you're thinking about getting one of these, might be a good idea to get out there and get one quickly, because we don't know how long they're going to be around. But having said that, I think this is a film that's come into its own even more today. I'm not sure I would have enjoyed it so much up to this point, because right now it's great to have that window back into Britain in 1971 and just how depressed parts of Newcastle were back then. Now then, I had so many requests to review the new 4K of Heat, and that was a good excuse to visit the Bath HMV to buy it, so I'll take a look at Michael Mann's film and the new HMV store in Bath in the next video. But before I forget, I was speaking to Dave in the HMV. We were both talking about a Christopher Nolan film and neither of us could remember the title. Well, in case you're watching, Dave, it's this one, The Prestige, and we both agreed this was a great film. So one I haven't done a review of so far, but maybe I'll include that in the next Christopher Nolan review that I do. Another film that seems to be popular for a 4K review is Lawrence of Arabia, but I still haven't managed to track down a copy of that yet. But one thing that would probably be better than reviewing a 4K of Lawrence of Arabia is getting into a projection box for a 70mm screening. Imagine that, to be in there with a projectionist as they thread up and stick that almighty great film on a screen. Well, Clark in Australia has done just that, and he has a video coming soon, all being well, to show exactly what goes on down there. And he has got some great shots in that video. I've had a sneak peek at some of what he's got, and it really is going to be a treat. So I will leave a link down to his channel below, and I really do urge you to get over there if you're not subscribed to Clark already. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and perhaps consider subscribing, so I'll be encouraged to carry on creating content like this again in the future. Until the next video, bye bye for now.